Welcome to the North American Bear Center in Ely, Minnesota. I want to welcome everybody here at the that's on site here at the North American Bear Center, both in the viewing area downstairs where you probably won't get eaten by mosquitoes, and for those of you that have braved the deck with me. It's overcast, cloudy, slight wind, and it might be about 62 degrees. And why am I giving a weather forecast for those of you that are here at the North American Bear Center? This podcast is going worldwide. We reach about half the states in the United States for participants in our podcast, and about 8 to 10 countries around the world. This podcast is available and can happen only because of the dedicated staff here at the Bear Center, as well as numerous volunteers around the world that volunteer their time. For those of you here at the Bear Center, I will be giving some instructions to our PTZ driver. A PTZ driver is an individual somewhere around the world who's a volunteer that is actually pan, tilting, and zooming our camera that is located here on the deck at the North American Bear Center. We have Heidi and Sharon both out in the enclosure, and PTZ driver focus on the deadfall between the two waterfalls. Heidi has located Holly Bear, our 18-month-old yearling. PTZ driver focus on Heidi. She's got a off-white colored shirt on. Holly is on the ground following Heidi. I would ask of you people here on the deck to try to be quiet. We have been working with Holly for a couple of weeks to get her comfortable to come out when there's people. There's only really 2 people on the staff that Holly is comfortable working with, and those 2 ladies are out there as we speak. The goal with Holly is to integrate her into the 2.5 acres. And she's looking around to see if there's a big bear out, and there is, Ted. She's being very cautious. Both Heidi and Sharon give Holly some security. They've become her surrogate mothers, because Holly is an orphan wild bear. I am positive Holly has seen Ted. A few days ago, Holly went and touched noses with Ted for about 2 seconds and ran away. What we have here is both Holly and Ted having a cube, and each of them have 2 holes in it. It's a problem-solving activity and a dexterity activity. If they want the food in the box, they have to find a way to get it out. One of the staff members is putting some food into the holes of this tree. The purpose of that is to get them to climb if they want the food. Holly weighed in just the other day at about 87 pounds. Ted Bear weighed in at 553 pounds. Some people ask, how do we weigh a bear? Well, for those of you on the deck or in the viewing area, there's a box there just to the right of the 2 water bowls. We will put a treat in that box. that the bears like, and all they have to do is stand on that for about maybe 30 seconds, and the weight is registered inside the building. For those of you on the deck and in the viewing area here at the Bear Center, if you watch Holly, she is watching you up on the deck. She has looked a number of times at the windows, or the viewing windows. When she looks at the viewing windows, she can see herself as a reflection, and she can also see the people inside. Bears in the wild learn to recognize their reflection in a lake or a river or a stream when they drink water. We're not sure until Holly has been out here the last few weeks that Holly really has ever seen her reflection, because the first number of times she saw her reflection in the windows, she was very fearful and she ran away. We just suspect that she probably has never seen her reflection, although we don't know. We're just guessing that by her behavior, but we really don't know. Ted over there, I've not talked much about Ted. Ted is to the right PTZ driver of the scale. Holly, PTZ driver, is right near the pat tree. Ted, on the other hand, is a very gentle 17-year-old male. He's the largest of the bears we have here, and the most likely of the bears for Holly to make friends with first. It wasn't but just a few weeks ago that we started working with her, and on May 30th, it was the very first time she came into this viewing area, and she didn't stay very long. Holly came to us in December of 2013 at about Christmas time, and she went directly into hibernation. She came out of hibernation in early April, and due to some skin condition and other issues, she was under some veterinary care until very, very late May, at which point the vet said that she could start to explore the 2.5 acres and we could begin to integrate her to the other 3 bears. Back to Ted. Ted Bear, he's always been in captivity. He was born on a game farm. So Ted has never known the challenges of being a wild bear. Ted has a sweet, very, very sweet personality, and he is more interested in people than he is in other bears. If he was in the wild, that would work to his detriment. But here as a captive bear, it really helps him be a great ambassador bear for the North American Bear Center. For those of you here at the Bear Center for the first time especially, we have 2.5 acres here, and the only man-made things are some of the items you obviously see right in front, the waterfalls and the pond. I want you to take special note of the change in behavior we've just seen in the last minute from Holly. She realizes now she does not have any of her mothers in sight. She is now facing Ted by herself. She is hugging that tree, eating, and if you notice, looking over her shoulder, where's Ted? If she wants, she could climb that tree very quickly. PTZ driver, she went over the rock bridge into the clover patch and into the brush. PTZ driver, I'm located at the clover patch end of the deck, and I do not see Holly. For those of you observing Holly's behavior, it was quite different. when her two surrogate mothers were here, visible to her, she sees them as protection from big bears like Ted. Would Ted hurt her? Absolutely not. But in the wild, the life of a yearling is challenging. They usually get run off from food sources by bigger bears and can spend a fair amount of their time in trees after they've been treed, particularly by an older female. We have two other bears here at the North American Bear Center. Lucky, a 7-year-old male, and our lovely cinnamon-colored Honey, who is pretty much the color of honey that you would buy in a store. Only about 5% of the bears in the state of Minnesota are cinnamon in color. And when she's out, you can really notice her shedding far more than you can Ted. Holly, if you observed Holly, you probably saw her legs were really close to black, but on her back you probably saw tufts of brown, dark brown. That's all her winter coat shedding. None of our bears have shed their winter coat yet. They all still are carrying a winter coat. If you look closely at Ted, PTZ driver, Ted is by the two logs in the center of the viewing area. If you look at Ted closely, especially on a sunny day, and I can see it slightly here from the deck, on Ted's back, there's some shades of very, very, very dark brown. That is Ted's undercoat beginning to come out. He'll have that shed by sometime in August or before. And shortly after that, he begins to, just like the other bears, grow a winter coat in preparation for hibernation. If you notice what Ted is doing, he has checked out the cube that Holly had, and that's Ted. Ted is very food motivated, and he makes sure not much goes to waste. I earlier told you how much they weighed. We do weigh them on a weekly basis, and you probably wonder why we do that. Well, we are their major source of food, although they do have natural food in the enclosure. A good example of that is the white clover. They prefer white clover over other clover. It's a natural food source for them, and we have seen all of them in the clover patch. And there are other berries in the 2.5 acres as well. But we weigh the bears because we are their major food source, and it's our job to make sure they are at a healthy weight during all times of the spring, summer, and then fall going into hibernation. I'm kind of looking here for Holly Bear, especially for the PTZ driver. I'm afraid I cannot give you a location of her because I don't see her. For those of you that have been listening to the podcast the last several weeks, I indicated just the other day that the next step with Holly is that the surrogate mothers will be out with her, but they're not going to hang around in the viewing area as long as they have in the past. She has to learn how to maneuver with the other big bears, and she has to learn to do that herself. So you're going to be seeing the surrogate mothers exit a little quicker than they did the first couple weeks. It's the next step in Holly's development of how to navigate the 2.5 acres with the other bears. We have already seen some playful behavior between Holly and Lucky. Just a couple days ago, Holly and Lucky were, as some of the viewers noted, were playing Ring Around the Rosie at the far right around a bunch of trees. Lucky probably could have caught her if he wanted to, but that wasn't clearly the motive. They were just slowly trotting around the trees 3-4 times in a very, very playful manner. That was extremely encouraging to us, and we think Lucky's intentions are just she's going to be a playmate someday with me. Ted, on the other hand, has been pretty non-committal. He's been very patient. He's allowed her, Holly, to approach him, but he hasn't demonstrated any playfulness, but he has demonstrated extreme toward Holly. At the other end of the spectrum, we have Honey Bear, who is our 18-year-old female. She's not out at the moment. She's going to be more of a challenge for Holly, because if you read some of our exhibits here in the North American Bear Center, you will learn that the black bear world is a matriarchal society. The average home range of a female black bear here in the Ely area is about 6 miles. Well, we have 2.5 acres here. Honey considers it her territory, and she needs to make sure Holly understands who the boss is. That's how I like to phrase it, but Honey does that in a number of ways, and we've already seen her exhibit behavior. She has treed Holly a number of occasions and blustered at her just to make sure Holly understands who the boss is. I want to thank all of you here at the North American Bear Center today. Now for the PTZ driver, Ted is on top of the rock den. PTZ driver, Ted is on top of the rock den. He investigated the rock den to see if there was any food. There wasn't. But there is food on top of the rock den. Looking again, panning the area for Holly. I do not see her, and I suspect she's in the area of the white pond. But I do not see her. I want to thank all of you people here at the North American Bear Center today. I think we're going to be getting more rain today, at least that's the forecast. We have over 60 videos and numerous exhibits in the exhibit hall about every aspect of black bear life. And we also have 2 BBC documentaries playing continuously in our theater, each of them 1 hour long without commercials. Both of those BBC documentaries, one in 2010 and one in 2012, were filmed right here in the Ely area. They are narrated by Dr. Lynn Rogers, the founder of this facility, as well as biologist and researcher of black bears for over 47 years. We are open until 7 o'clock today, and your admissions pass today is a day pass. That means you can come and go as many times as you'd like today. Our next bear enrichment will be at 1 o'clock today, and our next worldwide broadcast will be at 4 o'clock Ely time today. I'd like to thank the volunteers who are giving of their time to monitor our chat page, social media sites, as well as driving the camera and monitoring our visitors and giving them information, as well as answering questions about black bears. For those visitors here, I hope you have safe travels wherever your travels may take you, and enjoy yourself in the Ely area. Thank you very much.